Happy podcast day, Falcon Paladin.
Hello, Somicron. Glad to be here for another podcast day. There's a gentle ringing in my headphones for someone right now. For some reason, right now, I have no idea why.
Yeah, I don't know. Got it. Loose cable.
Probably. Sounds like something
Tinnitus.
that I do often. Tinnitus. I hope not. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just ignore it, I guess. I do look bigger. That's goodness, you're right. Huh.
Oh, thank you for this resub, Falcon Paladin.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever. I'm gonna be ginormous for this episode.
You gonna be ginormous? Okay.
Yeah, there's really all there is to it at this point.
Okay.
We have a lot to cover this week, man.
I like how
So
you
much
didn't.
to cover.
I just like that I tried to mention this before we were live, and you're just
You
like,
did
no,
mention it,
you
yeah.
look the same. I look the same. You just ignore me,
Yeah.
put me off, and then you get there and you're like, oh no, I am. I'm huge. I'm in
Yeah,
like.
I don't know. It looked so in my little window in Discord. I looked pretty much the same, but looking at me on Twitch, it is not the same. So that's the difference. I don't know.
You just don't believe my word. I get it.
Audio visual is a difficult job in media.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Well. All right. What do you want to do first?
I mean, kind of want to talk about the election a little bit. Want to talk about Arcane. Want to talk about a football game. Want to talk about Warhammer.
Sure. Let's get to it.
Want to talk about the best breakfast cereals. I'd like to cover maybe a discussion about ocelots if we have time for that.
Okay. Yeah, I can start looking up ocelot facts. Yeah. My favorite is the revolver ocelot from Metal Gear Solid.
Nice.
Followed
I like
closely
that.
second by the ocelot in Minecraft. Um, after that, I guess the real ocelot, the animal.
Yeah, yeah. The animal, the ocelot.
Yeah.
I mostly like it because it's fun to say.
Ocelot. Yeah.
Yeah, and because in the TV show Archer like goes to a house where someone has a pet ocelot, and he's totally enthralled by this animal.
Oh,
He's
okay.
like, "You have an ocelot?" He's like, "It's the best thing he's ever seen," and it's like scratching him and biting him, and he's like, "Hey, love this thing." Archer's
Yeah.
an idiot. It's very fun.
Every time someone says, like, has a little anecdote about the show Archer, I
Uh-huh.
think of Green Arrow.
Right. Because
And
your brain is programmed incorrectly. You should be thinking about the much, much better TV show Archer,
right,
not The Arrow, because that show sucks.
it does. It sucks so much ass. But I'm just picturing the Green Arrow guy running around like, where is he? Gotham, Metropolis? I don't even know. And it's
No
just
idea.
like, wow, a mini jaguar, and it's his favorite thing ever, and then he gets eaten by a big cat, or a little big cat.
Right. There you
Yep.
go.
Yep.
You should watch Archer sometime. It's great.
They're legal to import. I can own an ocelot.
Oh, yeah. I think it's named Babu in the TV show. And it's animated, so it's not a real ocelot, but whatever.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I can have an ocelot. I don't think you get along with my other cats.
No, I imagine not. Cats often have a hard time getting along with, regular house cats, let alone predators. Well, house cats are also predators, but big
Wild
predators.
cats, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else did you want to get on? The election? Let's get that out of the way.
We can
Turn-
start that. Yeah.
Let's turn off as many viewers as possible right from the get-go.
100%. All I really want to say is my feeling about the election was that I felt there was no way that Trump was more popular in 2024 than he was in 2020. I thought too much stuff had happened, too many trials had happened, too many convictions had taken place, that he would be more popular in 2024. So I was like, as long as the Democrats do what they did in 2020, then they're fine. So what happened was Trump was more popular than he was in 2020 by 800 votes. The popular vote total for him is like maybe 1,000 votes higher in 2024 than it was in 2020. But Harris got 11 million fewer votes in the popular vote than Biden did. So that's it. So I feel like I am somewhat vindicated in the idea that Trump is not more popular now than he was.
Um,
It just turns out that the Democratic voters did not want to turn out for Harris, and they didn't, and that's why they lost.
okay, I mean that's entirely possible why they lost, but I think conflating that with Trump being more popular might not be the right answer. Did you include that in the 4 years there will be more voters now than there was four
Ooh.
years ago? More people became of
Ooh.
voting age.
But also people
At least
die.
800.
Yeah, but also voters die.
True, but your population isn't shrinking, so it would only go up.
True facts. Okay, so yeah, so I think maybe I did win that, where he's probably less popular now, just because a smaller percentage of the people who voted for him.
It's possible. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that there definitely isn't people who swap sides or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't think you can just look at the graph of how many people voted each year and draw conclusions as to why.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But,
I've heard stories of people being like, I voted for Biden in 2020, I voted for Trump in 2024, and I'm like, what's
but
that
why?
journey like exactly? Like,
But why?
how does one make that decision? Like, how are you voting against someone in one election and then for them in the next election? I don't know. So,
Well, I mean, like most U.S. elections, it's because I'd rather that person than the other person, and at the time they preferred Biden, and now they prefer Trump over
Harris.
Harris.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's brutal if that's the case, man.
Mm,
Yeah. All right. So that's
yeah.
pretty much it.
Okay.
Okay, next up.
Are you excited for all your electronics prices to go up by 40% in like a year and a half?
Not really.
No.
No.
Okay. Cool.
Also, we talked about putting prayer back in school today, so that was nice.
Oh wow. I'm honestly I'm surprised Utah schools don't have it already.
You know what? Utah's been really good at separating church and state.
Oh, okay. Hey, what's the college football team that you support? What?
It's not a state program, it's a private
Oh,
university.
is it? Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
There
that.
is a state university called the University of Utah that is separating church and state extremely well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
They just have a shitty football team.
I mean, we're good last year.
Right. Okay. Let's not start evaluating football teams on whether or not they were good last year, because it will get involve into why you follow any team ever for more than a year. You know.
They're bad this year. That is
Okay.
true.
Okay. Great.
The football team is bad this year.
Okay. Speaking of football,
Anyway.
you wanted to talk about football.
Yeah, that's all. It's
They
the
were bad.
game. Yes, Utah was bad. BYU was also bad. It was a knockdown, drag 'em out, everybody sucked kind of a game that somebody had to win, and those are never fun for anyone. But yeah, BYU managed to squeak it out by 1 point, and it was terrible, and I didn't feel like we won, and it was a horrible experience. But I'm going to look forward to it again next year.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm glad you have that in your life.
Yeah, me too. Like why?
I mean,
why do we allow things that we have no control over to affect how we feel about things? Honestly, we all do it.
Yeah, it's true. But in the end of the day, it doesn't matter if your teams are good or not. It's because you got to go around to your brother's house, have a barbecue,
Yeah, that's
have
true.
fun. That's the real joy in football, Falcon. It's not the game. The game's shit. Like
Yeah, pretty much.
the game is League of Legends, but in real life. Like it's not a good game.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't want to get into that, but that's an interesting idea. All right. Yeah. So at this point, BYU is undefeated. They're one of the 4 remaining teams in the country that are undefeated. And they're probably going to make it into this brand new college football playoff they're doing.
Okay.
So 12 teams make it into the playoff, whereas previously it was 4. And prior to that, it was 2. And prior to that, we just voted on who the best team was, and that was dumb.
You voted on who the best team was, and they won like the conference or whatever
The entire national championship. Yeah.
by vote.
Yeah. So coaches and then football writers all cast a vote about who they thought the best team was, and then that team was the champion. It was really stupid.
That that is really stupid. That to me is League of Legends games getting picked by who, like which characters get banned in the draft. Like
Right. Just popularity.
yeah, that is wow. That's really dumb.
So over the last 20 years, they've been dragged into doing a playoff system like every other sport in the world does.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally, for the first time in 2024, got a 12-team playoff, which is like the first time I felt like it's kind of legit. So
Okay.
it's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a
Awesome.
fun time to be undefeated.
Yeah, yeah. Who are
Because
the
BYU could have been undefeated like 5 years ago, and they don't make it into the 14 playoff, right? That
True.
doesn't matter, and now it matters, so
Now
it's
it
nice.
matters. Who are
Yeah.
the 4 undefeated teams at the moment?
Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Miami was up there, but they screwed it up. They lost on Saturday. Oregon's undefeated,
Oregon.
and Army is undefeated.
The Oregon Ducks, is that it?
The Ducks, you got it. Oregon's really good. Like,
Okay.
there's a difference between undefeated teams. Like, BYU undefeated is not the same as Oregon undefeated. They are screaming. They are killing people on offense. Their defense looks really good. Like, they are scary.
Right.
They are legit. BYU is not.
I I just Googled Oregon Ducks, and it's got some recent results. It's like 39-18 over Maryland, 38-17 over Michigan, 38-9 over Illinois.
Yeah, they're
And
crushing people.
35-0 over Purdue. I don't know what Purdue is or where that is.
They're in Indiana.
Okay.
They're the Boilermakers.
Sure. Why aren't they called the Indiana Boilermakers? Why are they called Purdue?
Because the name of the university is Purdue, because it was named after the founder.
I don't like that.
Fine.
Fair enough. But their team
Yeah.
sucks. No points for them that game. They suck.
Who? Oh,
Oregon.
Purdue? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, they're not good. They're a basketball school, really. They're more of a basketball school.
Okay.
They have a football team, but they're never very good. So,
Okay.
yeah. They have like one season in the last 20 where they did pretty well, and then they immediately went back to sucking. So,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
poor Purdue. Gotta feel bad for those guys. It's really not impressive to blank them, honestly.
Right. 66-7 versus Notre Dame. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Yep.
No, you're good. That's
Yeah.
all. So just looking forward to that. Going to be real fun. They made college football less stupid than it ever has been before, and that's very exciting.
Excellent. Glad to hear it.
Yes. All right. Arcane.
Arcane. Yeah.
Did you watch the first 3 episodes they put out over the weekend?
I did. Of course I did.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. I sent my brother a message being like, "Hey, can I get you a Netflix login? Because I didn't want to resubscribe." And he's like, "I don't know it anymore, but you can watch it on the PlayStation." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna do that. Someone else is already using the TV."
Oh, fair.
So I paid $25 to watch these 3 episodes.
And the next 3 episodes next week.
Yeah, I assume are they coming out weekly? Because there's only like 9 episodes, so it's only 3 weeks. Okay, I can get away with
Perfect for you. Yeah. it's 1
canceling my
month.
subscription right now. Then okay, great.
Exactly.
I was gonna say $50 to watch this show if they stretched it over 2 months. I'm not sure that's worth it.
Maybe not. That is a lot of money.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I like they picked up right where season 1 left off. I mean, I kind of felt like maybe there was a chance it would be like 6 months later. And I'm like, right?
Wow.
But no,
Yeah.
it starts with Jace and Mel. Is her name Mel?
Sure, I forgot like everyone's name.
I know. Names are hard. Jace's name is easy because he's boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Mel.
Cool.
So Jason Mel standing there in like this completely blown up government chamber, and like most everybody else is dead and they're fine, and I'm like, all right, so the most important people, the ones we care about the most here, are fine. They survived the nuclear rocket hitting exactly where they are.
It killed 3 people in that room.
Yeah.
Yep. One of which I think we were supposed to care about.
Caitlin's mom,
Mother,
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that one, fair enough. That was a thing. But yeah, the other 2 they killed, it's like, I do not remember their names. I do not know who they are. Other people got injured. Like, this one character's wearing kind of a mask on half of their face now.
It's true.
Because of, like, scarring and stuff. So there's stuff.
Oh, Victor got hurt.
Victor.
Yeah.
Victor, that's right.
Victor's
Victor got
transformation.
smooshed.
Yeah. He did. He got a little smooshed. Smooshed, but like, Jace just like picked him up and took him to a recovery bay. It's fine.
Yeah, you probably didn't have any spinal injuries at that point. You probably definitely had some spinal injuries at that point. But hey, I don't know what kind of medicine they've got in this world.
Well,
The medicine is you put them in a vat of Jello for a few weeks.
And you infuse them with the hex core, whatever that
Yes.
is. I remember that being a thing that they like studied to work out how hex tech works, and it like does some stuff. But
Yep. Sure
when
does.
we're gonna jump over these 3 episodes. But when Victor wakes up and immediately is like, "You said you would destroy it. Thanks, no thanks of healing me." It's like, "What did you do to my body? You said
Yeah.
you destroy it. It killed a woman." I'm like, "Who?" I really feel it like Victor's story plays through like this woman that he was clearly in love with, but has now died, as presumably from the hex core, which he seems to have now fused with. Uh, I really needed to rewatch season 1 before this came out. I feel like
Yeah. So bottom line, no, it wasn't a woman he was in love with. She was like
no.
an assistant. She
Mm-hmm.
probably had a thing for him. They show her kind of like looking at him all lovey-dovey, and he is just absorbed in his science. He does not give a shit, right?
I feel like we're supposed to imply that's him looking at her as well, being like, "I wish I wasn't the giant nerd." I mean, did you go back and watch season 1? She in it? Like,
Yeah.
is
I
she important?
rewatched season one not recently, but no, she's not.
Okay.
She's not. She's there. She's taking notes. She's doing some sciencey stuff.
Okay.
He barely knows her name, and then it explodes and kills her, and he feels incredibly guilty about it. Like,
Hmm.
holy crap, my science killed someone. Like, can you name one thing that she likes? And he's like, no, but she's dead now. That is the extent of their relationship. But he's a pretty moral person, right? Like, Victor, he's wired that way.
Mm-hmm.
So for somebody to die because of the science that he's doing, yeah, he's definitely willing to shut that thing down. And I think it makes perfect sense for him. The first thing to say when he comes in is, I thought we were getting rid of this very dangerous thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Jace is like, nope.
Nope, it's useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Victor goes off and becomes some kind of god in
Jesus.
the underworld. And
Yeah.
he can heal people from drug addiction
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and like infuse them with some of the hex tech stuff too.
Yep. A hex tech detox.
Yeah. But it's not that it, because they have some of the like,
Shimmery
I
glow.
don't know.
It's not shimmer because
Yeah.
shimmer is the purple drug.
That's the drug they're addicted to.
Too
Right.
right, but they have the glimmer of hex tech that is.
That is Victor's entire body right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Except for his face.
except for his face, but it is in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's from the Undercity, so he basically fucks off and goes back to where he's from and abandons Jace because he's pissed off at Jace.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets jumped by these, meth heads looking for to take his stuff to sell for more drugs. And he like, I don't think he intends to do this. He like unconsciously, like reaches out and like magics this dude. And he's fine again, albeit again infused with whatever the heck hex tech is, whether it's good for you or not. We don't really know at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he definitely had some plan. Otherwise, he just walked up to a man holding a knife with no idea of what was going to happen, right? And he's like, "I'm being mugged by multiple assailants. Let me, using my walking stick, slowly approach the guy with the knife."
Yeah.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I feel like he knows he's got powers. Maybe he doesn't know what they're going to do, but he's going to use them.
Right. Oh, no, he says he's got he says as soon as he comes out of the goop, he's like, I have a compulsion
But it's not cold.
to do something. I have this feeling, but it's not cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need to do something. So I think that's what it is. He's like being compelled to cleanse this, to cleanse this guy.
Yeah.
And then the implication is that he's going to sit down there cleansing all of the drug heads in the Undercity for the next forever because there's a lot of them.
There is a lot of them, yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. His story was interesting in the first 3 episodes. I don't know what we're doing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I'm confused, I'm always like, I bet a League of Legends fan would know what this is. They know who Victor is. They know what he's doing because I don't know.
Here's the thing. I went to like the wiki to be like, "Oh, what can the game tell me about this?" And it's like, he's a cyborg.
Oh, all right. I guess he's a cyborg now. 'Cause he got put in a vat of hex tech for
Well,
like
hex
a week.
tech is tech, so technically it's technology. All right, so
Yeah.
he's a cyborg. It gave me absolutely no story beats or clues to why he's now slum Jesus millionaire. You know.
Right.
Um,
Okay. Well, maybe the show will do something different then.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Okay, so what else is happening? Mel, no, is it Mel? Mel's mother is making a play to manipulate the council all of the
The
time.
yeah. The warlord. Yeah.
Uh-huh. She's,
She. Sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, what do you think about her being like, I stole some stuff from some wizards, you know,
Yeah.
and they're here to take it back or like track me down. Like they know where she is. They've had access to her. They don't feel like they're just like, all right, let's kill her because they could have just like moved in force. And I feel like the magic powers are really good. Could have done the job.
Yep. But if you have been listening to Mel's mom the entire time, all she cares about is family. Family matters more to her than anything else.
Yeah,
Killing
I
her
get it. She's Vin
daughter
Diesel.
is much worse than taking her down, right? I
Sure.
think she's willing to die as long as Mel's safe.
Yeah.
And so
But
if you want to cause suffering for her, because again, if you just want to get rid of her, fine, yes, you could do that. But if you want to cause suffering for her, then getting rid of Mel is the way to do it.
but they know that she's after something in the city and they're trying to deny it. I don't see how kidnapping her daughter does that or even killing her daughter.
Well, maybe it gets her to give it up. Like, we have your daughter, we'll kill her if you don't stop looking for this thing and get out of here. Right? That's my guess. I don't know why else they'd be doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. There's
Yeah.
definitely a line in there about like she stole something or took something or has a debt.
Yeah, and she has that line about you killed my son. So like we've already done this dance apparently,
Right.
and nobody learned anything. So we're back. Can I just say there's this tiny moment in the very first couple minutes of the first episode where Mel and Jace are standing there, they're like shell shocked, and Mel's mom comes in, rushes over to her daughter, grabs her head in her hand, and looks at her like this terrified, worried super mom look for like 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, all right, you're fine. And then she never does that again. Like, she's never showing any kind of maternal love again to her.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there. I mean, it
Right.
was, yeah. Like, and the first season gave us a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I didn't send you away because I didn't love you. I sent you away because I loved you too much. And you were
Right.
like this bad influence on me with this moral compass. You're making me weak. That's
Right.
why I got rid of you.
Well, she also has a scene where she's talking to her advisor about like, hey, what do we do about our daughter? The witches are here. What do we do? And she's like, oh, keep her as an enemy. She's safer if they think we're against each other.
Right.
Right. So she's definitely
Right.
like pretending to be against her, but even if she actually is opposed to her designs with the city,
Yeah.
she's playing into it because appearing like she doesn't care about her daughter, or is at least enemies with her, will keep her safe, but all she ever spouts is how much she loves her family. Like, I don't know. Very pick a lane, lady. Pick a strategy.
Yeah, and it doesn't. Well, and it doesn't work because at the end of episode 3, Mel gets attacked and abducted by the witches. So, like, great plan. We nailed that one. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much that. Although I did think it was interesting when the witch showed up, pretending to be somebody from the city, and attacked her. Like, she had a way out of it, right? Her and her bodyguard broke it and
They had
killed
like
the witch.
runes. They had some like rune magic that would like
Yeah.
disable her magic, and then she just stabbed her. Like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, why are we worried about these witches? If we have the ability to kill them, like, what is the concern at this point? I'm not quite sure.
Well, they have the ability to kill lots of the. I want to call them underhivers, but that's not what they're called. The people in the slum people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the ability to kill them, but there's lots of them, right? Like,
Right.
I feel like just because they're magic doesn't make them any less of a threat, you know, the witches. Like,
Right.
any reason less, just because you can negate some of it doesn't mean you can negate all of it, you know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's all. What else
Yeah,
happened?
so there's that storyline. Oh, this was good. I don't know if I'm right about this,
Mm.
but there's a bit of a mini arc in the first 3 episodes where the upper city is like, we have to respond to this attack on the council.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find out that Silco's dead, and Silco has been the leader of the Undercity this whole time. And
Mm-hmm.
if he's gone, then all the gangs are fighting with each other, and there's nobody leading them, and they're not really a threat to accomplish much of anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the memorial service for the dead council people, there's an attack.
Mm-hmm.
They
Sure.
drop out of zeppelins. They've got these, mech suits
Mm-hmm.
infused with shimmer, and they're killing people, and everything's going bad. And they're like, how do they pull this off?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, how on earth did they manage to do this if Silco's dead and they're all fighting with each other?
Mm-hmm.
Who did this? And then it's revealed that it's Mel's mom that did it. Like, she
Mm-hmm.
set this thing up because she wants the people in the upper city to be afraid so that she can take charge
Mm-hmm.
and put Caitlyn, her puppet, in charge, right?
Yeah, well, here's the interesting thing. She has an actual puppet, like a person who literally can't stand without her strings. But at the like the pinnacle
Yeah,
moment of like we need a general to institute martial law to take command of not only the city guard but my forces as well. And the obvious choice is Caitlyn, a character she's barely interacted with in these last episodes.
yeah.
Um,
I think it's because she's easier to control. I think it's because she's inexperienced and kind of dumb and driven by vengeance, and she hates the Undercity as much as anybody right now, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah, those are all good reasons why she's the choice because she's easy to manipulate. But also, you need to have the council on side, and you need essentially the popular vote of all the noble people that they have. Like, there's a reason why they all get gathered. She inflames
Right,
like their sense of like they've attacked us multiple times. We need a strong response. We need to institute one of their own, and it needs to be a military person. And she's a military person and one of their own, right? Which is
right.
also
So she
makes her a good
bridges
choice
the gap.
politically, you know?
Yeah, she's from a really important house,
Mm-hmm.
right? Her mom was really respected on the council,
Mm-hmm.
especially, so that helps.
And she's decorated. She made that point herself earlier.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. So I liked that
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, yeah, how did they put together an attack on the memorial? That doesn't make any sense. And the show's like, aha, we have a way this happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated that one.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
It was good to have something, even just a little payoff of like a tip of the head of like the person who's obviously manipulating everything is manipulating everything, and here's how they've done some manipulating. It was good to get a little payoff in the first 3 episodes. Just
Totally.
something, right? Because
Yep. Yep.
like obviously the big climatic arc is not Caitlyn. Well, it's kind of Caitlyn and
Vi.
Vi. I always I remember doing this for season 1. Vi. Um, versus Jinx, right? And we know that's the big arc. That's the big will they won't they murder each other. And we know we're not getting that in the first 3 episodes. Like it's just not happening.
Right. Right. So they set up a lot of dominoes, and it kind of sucks if all you're doing in the first 3 episodes is setting up
Yep,
dominoes, and it's like,
right.
wait a week
Mm-hmm.
for more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep,
Yeah.
they gave us something.
Yep.
That was
yep,
good.
Yep.
Good. Then there's the storyline that there's this corruption affecting the tree in Echo's little neck of the Undercity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he's really freaking out about that, which it turns out he probably should be. There's this little cute, unnecessary scene where little dog professor guy is,
Uh-huh.
like Mission Impossibling into his own lab. It's fantastic.
Uh-huh. He's coming up with code words that nobody knows the meaning of.
But Echo doesn't know what he's talking about.
Right.
They bust up, and Jace is like, why are you breaking in? Yeah, so I'm not, this whole storyline of like, we've been using Hex Tech and nature's mad at us. Like, I'm not sure what's going on here exactly. I imagine it'll get maybe clearer later on.
Maybe, but it could just be nature is mad at them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that did kind of annoy me when Jinx and Caitlyn and all them are having their brawl, and all of their weapons start like phasing
Switching
in and
out.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody goes, well, this is an issue. Do I want to keep holding on to the magic gun that might
That
explode? It might twist and mutate. It might literally do something magic and uncontrollable. Yes,
yeah.
the answer is yes. I want to keep holding on to my magic gun. I'm like, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a high stress situation. You don't
It's
really
true.
have the capability to be like, let me determine what's happening here real quick. You make a snap judgment, and I can see somebody snapping like, that probably won't happen again. Let's go.
As it
Then it
continues
does
to
happen
happen for
again.
6 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, so then Jason, Echo, and Professor What's His Face go to the underground, like the part of the hex gates
mm-hmm.
that allow for basically warp travel within their world.
Mm-hmm.
And uh stuff happens down there. They're like, huh, there's this weird corruption pattern down here too. And then it goes all psychedelic,
Mm-hmm.
and I have no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
Okay.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness took them for a little bit of a ride as they all trip out on magic. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that'll be interesting. I don't know. It's hard to. I hope it's not just nature's mad because they're using a ton of magic now, right? Like there is
Yeah.
like compare that to Warhammer. When you get a bunch of psychics together to do a bunch of magic, yeah, the veil thins between the magic world and the real world, and more magic-y shit happens. But I feel like with Hextech, they definitely try to play it as the more scientific route, where it's like, oh, look, these are the runes that I know. These are runes. Those are wild runes. We don't know what they are. They're not words, and we can't
They're
use them.
they're reactive. They
Right.
show up in reaction to other things that are happening. Yeah.
Right, but I don't know. I feel like
I don't know.
it's just more interesting if there's something causing it. Like maybe the heart of the hex gates is something they've got shackled up down there that's like breaking through because they're using a ton more magic.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't feel like Jace would be intentionally shackling like an intelligent being knowingly.
Yeah, but he didn't make the hex gates, did he? Like they've been
He was
around.
really involved. It's his fucking hammer that opens the door.
That's
Like
that's true.
he's pretty involved with that stuff. Yeah.
I feel like he made hex tech with Victor, but the hex gates were just like a thing they already had to transfer between cities. You know?
No, the hex gates show up because of Hextech.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It like totally opens up this whole new shipping travel, smollens up the world a whole bunch kind
Okay.
of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Anywho, I don't really want to get into that too much because I have no idea what's going on, and I hope there'll be more explanatory later. But who knows? Yeah, they keep using the arcane when they discuss that stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The word arcane came up a couple times. I'm like, that's the name of the show. But how it relates to what we're doing, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that one. Oh yeah, Jace goes from like, I'm not going to use Hextech ever again, to I'm going to use it to save my best friend, to I'm not going to use Hextech ever again, to I'm going to make all these weapons and it's totally fine now. He was kind of all over the place in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, a little. He did just survive a very traumatic event.
Yeah.
So asking him to be stout, like stable and grounded, might be a little bit too much to ask for.
Yeah.
Every time, like he switched his sides was in response to like another event. It was like that they blew up the council building. I'm not like no, I'm not doing this. It's like oh, they attacked the memorial. It's like okay,
And I would have died except Vi grabbed my hammer and saved my life.
right.
Right. Without Hextech, we can't defeat what we're fighting. Okay, fine, I'm back.
Yeah.
But I guess I just would have liked to see him say that. Because it's pretty
Well.
much.
Sure, don't tell.
Yeah, or maybe agonize it over a little bit. Like, just be like, I understand that we need these weapons to defend ourselves.
I feel like everything you're asking for is entirely shown in the scene where he's like at a blacksmith furnace banging out over Caitlyn's rifle and he has a giant slashed up bandage across his back. And
Yeah.
I think it's like just that. That's all you need. It's like he feels the need for these weapons now.
Yeah. Again,
And again, he
I
doesn't
guess
make it for
being
everyone.
picky,
He makes it for Caitlyn and her squad, right, to do a little task force stuff.
right? But he knows, like this. He knows, like this is not going to end here. He knows he's escalating the arms race,
Uh-huh.
but again, he feels like it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just being picky. I would have liked to see him maybe acknowledge the fact that he knows this is opening doors that's going to lead to a lot of bad stuff, but that he's being forced into that door because there's nothing else he can do, you know?
Mm. You want him to
Anyway.
agonize over, like, the making the wrong choice for the right reasons kind of thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all. But I mean, yeah, this show moves. It moves fast.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I get it. There's a lot of stuff that they're doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. So then there's Vi,
Mm-hmm.
who has given up on Jinx, which I thought that was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Because she spends a lot of season 1 being like, Powder's still in there somewhere, Powder's in there somewhere, Powder's in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then it's finally broken. Like her launching a nuke at the upper city and specifically into the council hall was it.
Right as they're attempting to vote on peace as well. Yeah.
Right. I don't
Yeah.
think Vi knows that. Do you think Vi knows that?
I don't think Vi knows that, but I think.
Well,
Well, no, I don't think
Jinx
Jinx
probably
knows
told
that.
Caitlyn,
I
and
think
Caitlyn
Vi.
probably told Vi.
I think Vi knows that. Sorry, I was getting confused. Vi knows that.
Oh.
Jinx doesn't. Like it was just
No.
great timing on Jinx's behalf. Wow,
Right.
how very serendipitous.
Because she's a Jinx. That's the whole point.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So yeah, I just appreciated that we didn't spend any time with Vi being like, oh, she's still my sister. I still want to save her. She's the little 10-year-old that I knew back in the day. Like, no, that's gone. It's over. She's like, Jinx needs to die. Let's do this. And she's sad about it, but she doesn't really waver in that decision, which I appreciated.
Right. The only time she wavers is when there's Jinx isn't even using a human meat shield, but she has one.
Yeah, she comes across a human meat shield
She
entirely by accident.
She befriends a human meat shield who then
Yeah.
jumps to save her life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, I don't know. The whole Vi and Caitlyn hunting down Jinx thing was good.
I really, really like the scenes where they're rolling the gray through the streets and they're in their masks looking. And it's like, oh, that's cool. That was very. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's
I don't know what it reminded me of, but it was very like squad up kind of moments.
yeah. Well, it's a squad up moment, but also they're the monsters. Like they look scary. Like
Yeah.
any kids down there see them, any adults see them down there, and they're running the other way. Like they are not friendly peacekeepers from the top side trying to keep the peace and make everyone happy. They're here to find someone and kill them. Like that's the entire point.
Their
So I
heads
thought
go
that
at
was
that point.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're cutting through stuff here, but Jinx and Caitlyn go to find Jinx. Vi and Caitlyn go to find Jinx. Vi doesn't want to bring the rest of the team with them because she knows that Jinx is up to some hijinks. Lol. And she's like,
Good one.
if we bring people, they're going to die. We're probably going to die. This is not going to end well for us.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that was a real stupid decision because they wanted to have even numbers for the fight.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like we will get a rematch where the entire squad fights down at once and it'll be so cool, but they didn't want to blow that load in episode 3.
In the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just think it'd be nice to see red hair girl and green guy fight. they kind of did at the memorial. But a lot of what they're doing in the Undercity is just like stalking around and like looking at stuff. It's not
Right.
not very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jinx is wandering around the Undercity after she blows up the council. Everybody's looking for her, like pretty much. Silco's gone, so he's not protecting her anymore. Everybody knows that the top side is just going to rain hell down on them because of what Jinx did. And so they want her. They want to get rid of her so things can go back to normal on some level.
Yeah.
No?
I feel like there's definitely the one rat guy who's like, yeah, let's just like offer her up on a silver platter. But everyone else
Mm-hmm.
seems kind of torn on the idea of like how to deal with Jinx, or if they should, or because like a lot of them are like they have that little council meeting where they finally get together and are like, hey, look, we need to like stop fighting each other and deal with the topsiders. But most of them seem entirely content to like eke out petty gains over each other and turf wars and stuff like that. A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
I felt like at that meeting, only the rat guy really cared about Jinx, and the other lady was just like, "Look, we don't turn over our own kind." I'm like, okay, if you say so. And that's the most for and against you get from the what do they call them? Chem barons. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. I don't know. I guess maybe this is more of like a season 1 thing, where I feel like the other Barons didn't like Jinx at all. She's a wild card. You can't tell her to do anything. She just does
Mm-hmm.
whatever the hell she wants down there, and it's a destabilizing force.
Right.
So I just don't know why they'd be okay with her running around, you know? Now that Silco's gone, they couldn't get rid of her when Silco was around because he was keeping her safe. But now that he's gone, like, why would you allow Jinx to do whatever the heck she wants now without Silco, like, directing her at all?
My assumption is she mostly just leaves everyone alone, right? Like,
Unless you stumble across her by accident and she kills all of you.
right. But like up until that point, she was entirely fine walking through their territory. Nobody did anything. It's purely because the kid landed on her, and she was like,
Yeah,
"Well, I have to defend the kid, I guess." Was she
I
defending the
guess.
kid or herself? I don't know. But like before that, the I don't know the industry workers with their gas masks did not care about her presence. They were just like, "Yep, carry on."
Yeah, I think people are afraid of her.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I think if you're going to take Jinx out, you need to come with a team. You're not just doing it on your own. It's a bad idea.
Oh, that's a
So
bad
if she's
idea.
just walking through your alleyway or walking down your street, like,
Hmm.
whatever, man. Like, do your thing. I'm not going to try to take you down by myself, you know?
If she's walking down your street, you know she's not on home turf. She's on your home turf, and you should be able to get as many people as you need there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it'd be worth
Like,
a shot.
it'd be worth a shot, but they don't do it.
No, not that we see.
No.
In fairness, we don't see a lot of time of her walking around compared to how long it's been.
Sure. Sure.
Anyway. Yeah, so one of the Kembaran clan thugs are chasing after like a 6-year-old
Mm-hmm.
for reasons we don't know.
Isha is, I think, her name.
She has a name?
Yeah.
I did not know she had a name.
Mm-hmm. I have subtitles, and it's like,
Ah,
Isha gasped. You know?
nice. Okay, so yeah, chasing after Isha, she falls directly onto Jinx, who breaks her fall. She probably would have died if not for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Kembarans are like, we're just going to take the kid. And Jinx is like, no, how about you don't do that? Again, for what reasons? We don't understand. Does she see a little powder in this kid? Maybe she does.
Mm-hmm.
She's broken. There's really no explanations for a lot of things that she's into.
Right.
Right. So yeah, so this kid, Jinx imparts some life lessons to her and like wanders off. And the kid's like, guess I should follow this person forever now. Goes running after her. And yeah, and we don't really see any point where Jinx is like, all right, cool, I'm adopting this kid. She's my ward now.
Right.
She's my protege.
Oh,
Isha just like hangs around and like tries to help her any way she can.
right. Throws a grenade back to her in combat, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Literally one fight. I mean, yep, Isha's just like a pretty nothing void of any personality other than I'm homeless and I'm a lost puppy. You know?
Yeah, and no one's ever stood up for me before, and this person did, so now she's my hero, which I totally get. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so then in the final fight, when Vi gets the upper hand on Jinx and she's got her pinned, Isha comes screaming in and like jumps on her, hugging her. And Vi's like, children, crap. Can't do anything about children. I have a moral code.
Right.
Yep.
Caitlyn still wants to take the shot though.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that it's not exactly clear whether she really believed that she wasn't gonna hit the kid at all, or if she
She,
didn't care.
or if she was just telling herself that later. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was good.
that was pretty good.
I really
Yeah,
enjoyed that.
Caitlyn's arc's not bad.
She's really good. So I went to the movies last night. This is gonna mean anything to you, but I saw the Overlord movie. Right, Overlord is an anime that's got 4 seasons. It's an isekai, but the guy gets stuck in like an elder lich body. That's his character from the video game, and all of his like NPCs that he built with his clan to run their guild hall or whatever, all come to life, but they're all monsters. So he's kind of stuck being a monster with them when really he just wants to try and find any other players from the game.
Okay.
And they're like, because they're monsters, let's try and take over the world. So he's stuck kind of take over the world. Anyway, 4 really good seasons of TV anime. I mean, not really, really good, not Arcane good, but certainly enjoyable, certainly funny in places. And now they've got a movie. And the way this ties in is there's a big point in the movie that this Elder Lich, he's running his own kingdom, right? Like he's publicly announced that, hey, we're a real kingdom. We're seizing land. We're the sorcerer's kingdom of Einzulgorn. That's him. And another kingdom comes to him for help. And they're like the kingdom of paladins. They're called the Holy Kingdom, right? And they're like, a demon is invading our land, kidnapped our like princess and like one of our like her sister or something. We don't have the ability to defeat him. We need help. And the king's like, okay, I'll come help you for reasons, right? Don't worry about it. I'm skipping over a lot. But they get to a city and they're like, okay, we need to take back this city. It's invaded by the demon's army. All the paladins immediately stop at the gates because they're using human meat shields. Like they have young children basically taped to their chests, and the paladins won't do anything. And the Lich King, he's like, you have to do this because if you show them that human shields work, they'll keep using it. You have to sacrifice the one now to save the many later. And that's a big part of that movie. I don't think it's necessary. Like, it's a good movie. It's the interesting part of that movie, but I don't think they spend enough time on it. Where basically the supposedly bad guy, the evil guy, the Lich, is like, well, yeah, you have to kill the children to save the people later. But all the good people, all the paladins are like, no, we won't kill them. We won't harm the meat shields, which will cause more suffering to everyone else in the occupied city, kind of thing, because they can't free them. There's a moral quandary there that the movie picks at a little. It doesn't like really come to a lot of conclusions, other than the fact that the Lich King is maybe doing it to indoctrinate some people. Whether or not he's on it doesn't matter. But it's weird that I watched that movie and then we immediately come here, and Arcane also has meat shields. So,
there's not an answer.
There's not an
answer to it.
There's not an answer.
From a purely utilitarian standpoint, the death of Isha, the street rat kid that nobody cares about, is totally worth getting rid of Jinx. But then you inject human morality into it, and suddenly it's a lot tougher of a question. Yeah.
So yeah, that's me trying to get Falcon to watch Overlord again for the 9th time. I tally that on my desk. Scratch.
Excellent. Scratch. Take a knife.
Yeah.
Drag it right through.
Oh yeah. I got a knife right here.
Yeah. Gotta be a record kept.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, so bottom line, Jinx gets away, and I'm like, okay, they're not killing Jinx in the first 3 episodes of season 2 of this show.
Could you imagine if they did? Oh.
I mean, no, I can't actually.
Okay, so there's like a mid-credit scene in all of these episodes of Arcane. Are we supposed to know who that is?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if I couldn't remember it because I haven't seen the show in forever, or if it's like really just setting up someone new.
Right.
Yeah. But okay.
I'm sure we'll get there.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. They wouldn't set him up for no reason. But like,
Yeah. Then there's Shieldy guy that Vi runs into when she's drinking after having a fight with Caitlyn.
yeah, the
I'm like,
harmless
okay, so
enforcer.
this dude is clearly a character in League of Legends.
I don't
They
think
are
he
not.
is.
You don't think he is?
No.
Because they don't do anything with him. And he keeps like pretending to be a drunk, but he's not. There's something going on with this guy.
Right. Oh no, maybe he is a character. Um, Here's the thing. I just feel like I would have. Part of me is like I would have known who he is.
Yeah, you're a huge League of Legends fan.
Yeah, I mean I played the game. Look, people on the Reddit are saying like they don't know who he is, right? Like they know his name is
Oh.
Loris, and so when I saw that, maybe I thought maybe they do know who he is, but I don't even know if Loris is his name. Um, but yeah, he's not a character. Maddie Nolan, the redhead Scottish junior officer,
Yeah.
also not a character in League of Legends.
Okay.
Uh,
They're
I
doing a lot less of that than I thought they would do.
Yeah, I mean I was kind of worried that they were gonna do like everyone who's a character is a character from the game and
Yeah.
make the world feel really small, but no, they're not doing that. I have a feeling they might transform Maddie Nolan into a different character. There's a character in League who's entirely clockwork after a horrible accident in the Undercity or whatever, and so it's like, oh, here is the person with
There's
the same body type who's going into the underworld. Huh.
pre-terrible accident. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's also just way too much of a ray of sunshine for this world at the moment. Or for this show. Needs to
Yeah.
she's bait that like something awful is going to happen to her. It has to be.
Yeah. She's definitely a little bit too chipper for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing I liked about season 2 so far is that it takes characters who've been kind of like too optimistic and too chipper for this world, like Jace and Caitlyn, and like absolutely beats the hell out of them. So I appreciate that because it makes them more interesting characters in my book. They're really boring in season 1.
Fair.
There is a shieldy character in LoL called Braum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people are like, maybe it's Braum, but there's a lot of argument on Reddit about that too.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brome's shield isn't a shield, and that man's facial hair. Can you even call that a moustache?
Right.
Uh,
So it's definitely not 100% Braum.
no.
Inspired by it. It's an archetypal Braum.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is you can go to Braum's wiki page and be like, yeah, he's a Frostborn hero from the Freljord. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so he's not from Topside. Like, he has to be from a different city, and that guy looks very Topsidey. You know?
Does he?
Yeah. I mean, he's a cop working there. And I feel like if rapid transportation is very quick, we don't see a lot of foreigners working. I mean, there's the green guy, I suppose.
Green guy doesn't seem local either, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe it's Braum, maybe
Maybe.
it isn't. Is he in the credits? He doesn't have a lot of lines, so how do you
No,
even
he
recognize-
does not.
He has like one in episode 1 where he's like, you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he pretends to be like conked out.
Right. Does he have a name, though? That's what we need to find out. So the green guy is called Steb.
Okay, cool. Don't know anything about him.
Junior Officer Matt Nolan. Isha's the kid. Loris. His name is Loris. So it's not Braum.
Okay.
Loris.
Lars. It's, I don't know, they're just doing something with him. Because it sure seems like he's pretending to be blackout drunk, hanging out with Vi, and then he's not a couple times. Like, he's really watching her closely.
Right.
And I don't know if he's, like, trying to screen her to become a cop later, because she does become a cop later, which I have some questions about.
Yeah.
Because the show is very much, Caitlyn's like, let's go to the Undercity and find Jinx as the law. And Vi's like, fuck the police. She's like, never, you don't know me at all. Bye. And she storms away.
Mm-hmm.
And then honestly, like, I don't know. The next time we see her, she's a cop. And it's like, okay, bye.
No,
Look, man.
the next time we see her, it's at the massacre at the
The
memorial.
memorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where she sees all of the cops doing what's right and signing up seems like the right thing to do.
No.
Where conveniently all those exact people are in her squad. What are the odds?
Yeah. That's convenient. No, I need more. Like, Vi was imprisoned unjustly for like 10 years.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, yes, I'm a police now. Police are good. I will wear the uniform. I'm like, oh my gosh, Vi.
Yeah, okay, there could have been another scene, but I feel like to her, it's Caitlyn finally capitulating that, yeah, we need to go in there and kill them, right? We just need to go in there and do that. You can only come if you're wearing a uniform, and if you're wearing the uniform, you'll get Hextech, right? You'll get your gauntlets back. And so, after...
See, that's all I want. I want her to be like, no. And then Caitlyn's like, you get your gauntlets. And she's like, I really want the gauntlets. Right? It's kind of the same thing with Jace. I just need one more scene with both of them before they immediately reverse their incredibly strongly held stance on this topic.
I feel like it's fine for both of them.
Okay.
Whoops,
that's
got my
fine.
knife. Don't worry about it.
Okey-doke. Don't hurt yourself.
It's closed.
Okay, good.
But like, what was I gonna say? I feel like you could. I feel like Vi. It's Vi. Yeah, it's Vi.
It's Vi. You got it.
You know, Vi and Caitlyn's entire relationship has been chipping away at her, like, biases against the Bluecoats because
Both of theirs.
Yeah, right. And I feel like all of the work that really is setting up her, like, switch to being willing to wear the uniform is just that. It's just their relationship together, and it's like she's holding out because of, like, actually
being unjustly imprisoned for 10 years.
Weirdly, that is not the defense she gives. It's that the Bluecoats murdered her parents. Right?
You're right.
She doesn't even care about being unjustly imprisoned.
They murdered her parents and they stuck her in prison unjustly for 10 years. Holy shit. If anybody has a reason to hate cops, she's there.
New South Wales Police here just managed to organize a 40% pay increase.
Wow.
So...
that's a big pay increase.
Yeah.
Pay increase. That's what I meant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cops. Gotta love them.
Cops. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and Vi was raised in the Undercity. Like, she doesn't have any positive interactions with Bluecoats in her entire life. Except several incredibly negative ones.
Right. But she's had several positive ones with Caitlyn now.
That's true.
And, I mean, she's not going to take those lying down. I can tell you that. Nope.
Or will she?
But look, hey, look, affection goes a long way, and I feel like you can't understate her liking Caitlyn, changing her mind on that, and seeing that there are good ones. That, you know, Officer Maddie comes up and goes, well, if, you know, you should have seen the way she, like, really defended you at the precinct when they tried to deny your application, you know? And the way she talks about her, like, if only half the Bluecoats had as much heart as you, we'd be fine. I feel like greasing her up a little. I mean, Officer Nolan is now a paid plant by Caitlyn, but like...
Probably. She's not that smart. Yeah. I guess...
depends on how, like, warmongery you want her to be, right?
Yeah.
Is it for the gauntlets, or is it because... there are genuinely some good people in the Bluecoats. And having her horizons broadened is a good thing.
I just need more time. I just need more time with it. Because she really, really goes from, you don't know me at all if you think I'm going to wear a badge, to, I'm wearing the badge. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah.
And I get they did some work. They did some things to
They
help
did.
her
I
along.
feel like they did plenty of work. I mean, even when she goes, "You don't know what it's like to have them kill your dad," and Caitlin go, "Oh, killed my parents," and Caitlin goes, "Yeah, I do. We just came from my mother's funeral, right?" They immediately point out that Caitlin does get what Vi's going through, you know.
Yeah. And yes, and
I,
that's nice.
I look. Could there have been one more conversation for all of these people? Sure. I'm not going to say no to that. Like
Okay.
that, but like I feel like it's fine.
They probably wrote it and then they cut it for time.
Probably, which is weird because it's like it's a Netflix thing. Why are you trying to stick to like a 40-minute schedule? Like,
Right? Like no one's gonna be mad that episode 1 is an hour long instead of 40 minutes.
right? Honestly, you
Right.
could have released this as a 3-hour movie, and I would have been fine with it. You know,
Totally.
instead of
Yeah.
9 episodes, just do 3 hour long movies. I'll watch it because that's how I watch this. You know.
Yeah, and everybody would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Actually,
it'd be a very small number of viewers that would be like, this is a bad format.
it wouldn't. It wouldn't even be 3 hours because they're 40 minutes. It'd be an hour and 80 minutes. Or that'd be 2 hours. 2 hours and a little bit.
Maths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Base
Yeah.
60. God damn it.
Yeah.
I feel like they could. Oh man! So I was in the movies. I saw a trailer for the Lord of the Rings animated movie coming out next month.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
That looks so good. We need to make sure we go see that.
Definitely. Definitely gonna go see that.
Yeah.
On the list.
On the list.
Okay. Deal.
Good deal. All right.
Yeah, one
Oh, you have more?
one thing that I noted too.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Jinx talking to? She might just be talking to herself because she does that a lot. But there's a scene where she says basically, you know, I can ruin anything, right? Anything I touch goes to shit,
Mm-hmm.
including my family, anyone I've ever cared about. Like she just sees herself now as this thing that is destructive, and anyone she gets close to, you know, dies or she kills them because she does that,
Mm-hmm.
right? She kills Silco.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a different kind of Jinx. Like season 1 Jinx is more, I know my place. You know, Silco's my dad. He lets me do whatever I want. I've got these projects I'm working on. Things are great. But then when he dies, she's lost. And she goes back into this whole sense of like, I've lost 2 father figures now. I've killed both of them. One by accident, one maybe by accident. I don't know, man.
She kills both of them by accident. I think she very explicitly, like, I don't remember the scene in season 1, but she says she doesn't pull the trigger on Silco, and she definitely didn't pull the trigger on her other dad. They both die just by being too close, is how she feels.
Yeah. So that's it. She just thinks she's a Jinx. She thinks anybody that she gets close to is dead, and she's like sad about it. She's alone about it in a way that's different from season 1.
Yeah.
And in a way that's not just like, ha ha ha, I'm crazy, right?
Ha ha ha, I'm Harley Quinn, but blue.
Yeah, it gives a little more depth to the character. I'm just curious what they're gonna do with that.
It is interesting, especially now that she's adopted a puppy.
Has she?
Yeah, well, she can't get rid of the kid.
No.
She,
But being
she,
followed around by a 6-year-old is not the same thing as adopting a 6-year-old.
being followed around by a 6-year-old in your secret lair as you plant landmines, I feel like you've adopted it.
That was a question I actually had. Because, like, when Isha's up there in the rafters, like, spying on where Vi and Caitlyn are, I'm like, did Jinx tell her to do that? Or is she just doing that her own volition?
I feel like she's adopted the puppy. She would have to have
If she
fed it.
hadn't before she saved her life, probably by now she has.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, probably not great for Isha long term. Because as we've established, things do not go well for people that Jinx cares about.
It's true.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Is there anything else in Arcane?
the only other thing that I really had to note was episode 1 goes from like Imagine Dragons banger of an opening theme song to immediately into like and now we're at a funeral, which felt like a really hard tonal shift immediately. You know?
Yes.
That's
it did.
That's all.
Ooh, the song "Heavy is the Head That Wears the Crown." I
Mm.
really like that song. I
Hmm.
thought that was great.
Oh, and they did throw in. So I put it in the Discord. It's "Get Jinxed,"
Yeah,
an official League of Legends song from like 13 years ago. That song's in here as well. So there's
I
one of those.
didn't know. I've seen that music video. I didn't recognize the music was in this. In what scene?
I want to say the one where she gives the lady her slot machine arm, and they fight the rat in the.
Oh,
Yeah.
which we didn't talk about at all.
No, it's true because that character doesn't mean anything.
Well, she's like the only person who's willing to go back for Jinx at all right now.
Sure, she's the only one who's like, no, we don't give up our people as well. But like,
Yeah,
why?
yeah.
She also blames Jinx for getting Silo killed.
She sure does. It's a good point. I don't know. What are her motivations exactly? Maybe she knows that Jinx can make her a new arm of chaos. Like, you can't fight with this thing. How's this supposed to make any sense at all? Freaking Jinx.
Absolutely no idea.
Like, as soon as she revealed it, like she throws it to her in combat, I'm like, that is not what this woman wants.
No.
This is not her style. This is not going to be as helpful to her as she wants it to be. Like the
No.
whole concept of putting a fucking slot machine on a mechanical arm and having it do random shit is like, what? It's fun, but it is highly impractical.
Uh-huh.
Okay, glad we're on the same page. Okay. So they're playing that music then. That is perfect. That is a good time for it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Enough Arcane.
Enough Arcane. Onto the Warhammer.
On to the Warhammer. Let's remember what the name of this book was.
Saturnine by Dan Abnett.
Saturnine. Yeah.
And you only just managed to finish this book, I hear.
Correct. I did.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a struggle to get through. You're just busy this week.
Busy.
Busy.
So much stuff going on. Way too much stuff going on. I enjoyed it. I really did. But it was like 500 pages. It was a monster. And we knew that going into it. We knew it was a bigger one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
Saturnine.
good.
Oh,
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, so the afterword, Abnett's like, look, this was a Herculean undertaking. It covers hundreds of different characters. He says, I did so much cross-referencing into previous books to get details right that I almost quit. If I had been brought into a project on another scope, another intellectual property, and had to do this much work for it, I would have not done it. I would have left. But he's like, but I love Warhammer too much.
Oh, thank
And
God.
I stuck with it, and I got everything right, and I bugged everybody in who's been writing for this series to make sure I got every detail right. And I think it shows. I think like the level of effort he put into this thing is definitely impressive.
Where to even start? Because it covers several like story threads that are cross at maybe one point but not another. Okay, the first thing I'm just gonna pick one, which is Oleanus.
Yeah.
And
Can I just say I love that John Grammaticus is looking for Oleanus the entire book. And Oleanus is like embedded with his random trooper brigade.
Nope.
No, in 2 weeks he is.
Nope. That is not the Oleanus we know. That is
what?
Yeah, okay, so this is why I picked this. So before these books, there was a tiny little, I don't know, lore paragraph in a codex from 20 years ago that said, Guardsman Alanius Pierce stood down the traitor Horus with naught but his Lasguard and was like, yelled for the Emperor and died. And it's this big...
kind of talked about at the end, right, okay.
It's a big sticking point that like just a guy like had the balls to stand up to Horus at peak Horus power, you know, right before the Emperor kills him. That like even just a regular human stood up to do what was right, you know? And people were kind of mad that earlier in the Horus Heresy, they took this Oleanus guy and made him a perpetual person, right? They made him like this big human character with a perspective. So this is
Okay.
a retcon fixing a retcon, where they're like, oh, but what if that was a story someone told, and we make Oleanus standing by the flag, not the Emperor, but the image of the Emperor, and it wasn't Horus, but it was Angron, uh, and it's still the same story beats, but, you know, he's a big guy on, like, telling lies and stories to, like, inspire people to go through awful shit, you know? Which, if you just read the book, I feel like his story is really, really good. It's like he has a lot of right points about why soldiers are lying to each other
Right.
about like the glory of the war. None of it's glorious. They need to trick themselves into doing this. Otherwise, what's the point?
Or because if they accurately look back on what happened, it's horrific and terrible and mentally scarring, and you can't actually think about it too hard.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah.
but it's Dan Abnett talking about a story, and like I guess Dan Abnett is the insert with Harry, the remembrancer who's recording it, and he's like, "Oh, don't make it, you know, some demon beasts. Make it the Horus bloody Lupercal himself." And he's like, "Nobody would believe that, right?" And it's like, no, that is the story. It's a big joke. So
Okay. That's funny.
yeah, so
All right. Because, yeah, he does talk about that in the afterword, and I wasn't quite picking up what he was putting down, but now I get it. All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. That's really funny. Those. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. But now you know.
Now I know.
The more you know. Yes, that's Oleanus Piers and not Oleanus Pius.
Lame.
We will get back to him. Don't worry. Yeah, because John Grammaticus is looking for him. How did you feel about the Warhammer exposition arc that is John Grammaticus, that is exposizing nothing important in this book, right? He goes and chats to Erda, who drops a whole bunch of secrets about like
Yeah.
the foundation of the universe, but has no real like it's entirely exposition, but it's not exposition for anything important in this book, right? It's like
No, it is. It's further setting up the idea there are no good guys. Right? Like, the heretical Primarchs have allied themselves with evil and the warp, and they are terrible and really, really bad. But, like, the Emperor's not a good dude, and he never has been.
sure, I guess. I feel like it's a lot of backstory about like the Emperor and what he's been doing, how long he's been doing it for.
Yeah.
But that's
And the
not.
fact that he never once in his entire life has ever listened to anybody's opinion other than his own, which they repeat a lot.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we could have had some more explicit conversations about that, and like cut to Basilius Foe also explaining the same stuff,
Yeah.
because he's doing that as well, but he's doing
He
it, I
is.
think, way better because weirdly he also has a perspective of having been there, you know, a really long time ago when Oda does as well.
Yeah,
They're
because
both
he's a perpetual, right?
well, Basilius Foe isn't, but Oda is.
How long has Foe been alive?
5,000 years.
Oh. So
They
not
say
even
that,
close.
but he says he does it through like gene engineering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
And
that's right.
and
So
since
not a perpetual, but kind of
he
an artificial perpetual.
he could live for as long as he wants. Yeah.
Yeah. Bet Erdo would hate him too.
Oh
She's
yeah.
pissed off that Grammaticus was given his perpetuality by Zeons.
Zeons. Yeah.
Xenos.
There
Xenos.
There we go.
Wow. His late, sort of. Anyway,
It is
by
funny.
Xenos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a whole funny thing. Where he's like, "You're pissed at me because I got my immortality from aliens. I wasn't born with it." She's like, "Yep, that sucks." And he's like, "It's gone now for what it matters. I don't really have that anymore. I'm on my last life." And I don't know if that kind of softens her up a little bit.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not sure why she decides to talk to him in the first place, but
Yeah, it's tricky because like she's like, "Hey, I'm hugely important. I change a lot of the fundamental ideas that we know about Warhammer. Like the Primarchs were scattered by the Chaos Gods, who were worried that if the Emperor had all of his little sun generals, he could like raise them right and they wouldn't fall to chaos. And then it's
Right.
like, okay, but did Chaos scatter them or did Erda? Because they definitely say Erda scattered them.
They sure do. And I was like, maybe she worked with the Agents of Chaos and helped them with
No.
it?
I don't know. I don't feel like working with chaos is a really thing that you can get out of later. Like, you don't sign up with
No,
the Emperor's
and
greatest enemy and then go into hiding and he just leaves you.
yeah, and then she hates chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And this telling we get of that happening does not seem to need to involve anyone else, right? In the heresy. So, yeah, I don't know. That was weird. Why did they do that? I don't know. Maybe she's lying. Maybe she's like, I was going to scatter them, but then someone got there first, and I was like, hooray!
I feel maybe she attempted to scatter them, but she wanted to scatter them to good planets, and chaos took them to evil planets.
Ooh,
You know?
wow. They didn't all go to evil planets.
No, but some of them clearly went to good planets. So I guess you have to, you know.
Yeah, if Angren ends up not on terrible, horrible slavery planet, maybe he turns out better.
Yeah, well, I mean, interestingly enough, Angron ends up basically in Rome, right? Like, he's a pit fighter. He's like a Colosseum fighter.
Sure.
But so does Gulliman. Like, they're both like 3 worlds apart from each other. They just get different sides of Rome.
Oh, I didn't realize they were so close.
They were very close, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Not literally 3 worlds, but I think they're both within like roughly what's the 500 worlds. I think Angron's a part of one of those. Yeah.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Grammaticus's plan is to like
talk to the Emperor.
talk the Emperor into doing what exactly?
Stopping whatever his plan is for humanity, including
Okay, but like
killing all the
like,
Primarchs.
Yes.
And all the Space Marines, and giving
But
up on the idea of Imperium.
the timing for this is really that bad, right? Because
Yeah,
you
but
need
it's
him to
now or
win.
never.
Well, you need him to win, and then you can try to talk him into giving up the thing. You can do it now. He's not going to be like, yes, you're right. I will give up the Primarchs. They're the only thing standing between us and total annihilation. You're right, John Grammaticus.
I feel like if you have the conversation with the Emperor now, you can still be like, okay, but let's do this in like a week. Or, you know, let's do it after the siege. Let's win. Let's clear this up now.
Yeah.
And
Right. That's
then
what I'm
we'll do it.
saying.
Right, but like you can have the conversation with the Emperor now.
Well, except that he's spending every last bit of everything he is holding off the warp from destroying everything.
True.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a bad plan. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what he's trying to do at all.
Yeah, it's a little strange, but I feel like it gets better with time. Because he even says it, like he doesn't know what he's even going to try and do. He's just like, we have to go and try and convince him to stop. He's like, I don't know what that looks like, but hey, I've got to try, right?
Well, and to be fair, in the moment wherein a large portion of his sons are trying to kill him, that might be the best moment to be like, hey, let's rethink this a little bit.
See what trying to speed things up has done?
Yeah.
Neoth? God.
Neoth, yeah. Well, what he was known by when Erda met him, which...
Yeah.
He's had a lot of names, she says, right? But again, she's very clear on saying that the Emperor, who was calling himself Emperor before he was Emperor of anything, which is awesome, the Emperor never listened to anyone. Anyone who came to him with counsel, anyone who came to him with another idea that contradicted his idea, it never worked. He is so singularly convinced that his plans are the best.
Right.
And his plans will make humanity great again. That, I don't know. I'm not even sure in this moment, where he's literally facing down being killed by his own sons, he would be willing to change his mind on this topic.
Right, yeah.
That's all. And considering the fact that Warhammer 40k still has Primarchs running around, spoiler alert.
Whether or not the yeah. I mean, so tie that in with like what we know Basilius Foe is going to try and do.
Yeah.
Because Keela is talking to him, and they have a bunch of really good conversations involving Keela's faith.
Yeah.
So she does get there, she have a couple of conversations. She doesn't really change her mind on anything, but she has the conversations with someone about whether or
Yes.
not it's okay to be a god. And the Emperor's like, well, at least he has the uh, rationality to deny it. Like, good for him. So
Well, except then Foe goes, yeah, every person who wants to be worshipped as a god says, don't treat me like a god, please. Look how humble I am.
right.
That's his immediate rebuttal to that. She's like, he always says don't call him a god. He's so humble. And the dude's like, that is a classic move, lady.
Right.
Seen it 1,000 times. And she's kind of like, oh. There's a little crack in her faith there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like, look, I could devise a plan to wipe out the problem. And the custodian there is like, that's not what he said, Keela. It's like, it's not a plan to kill Horus. It's a plan to kill the Primarchs and the Space Marines. All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, to the custodian's credit, he's like, we got to pursue every avenue to win.
Yeah.
It does not benefit me at all personally, but we got to pursue every avenue to win this thing.
Right, but we know the Custodes, or at least Valdor, thought the Primarchs and the Space Marines were maybe a mistake. So he might be like totally on board for this.
Very well could be.
Yeah.
Can we pause for a couple minutes?
Sure. How long?
I'll be right back.
Okay. What do you think it is? Do you think Falcon had to go to the pee break? But it's pee break. Maybe let the cats out? Cats in? No, he doesn't let the cats in or out anymore. It's gotta be a pee break. It's gotta be. We're gonna be going an hour and 20 minutes. Why would he need a pee break? I really don't understand the people who like, oh, I'm in a 2-hour movie and I have to get up and go pee in the middle of it. It's like, really? Really? It's not that long. I don't know. Maybe I just have a big bladder. Maybe he has the small one. He's not snacking. He's not like, well, I could really go for a cookie right now. Knock on the door? What time is it there? It's like 9 p.m. No one knocking on his door. Alright, I'm gonna put it on a break real quick.
All right, we're back.
We're back. You'll have to check out the VOD to see what shenanigans I got up to.
I mean, I heard you're pouring a glass of water, so...
No, I had my mic muted for that. They didn't hear that. How'd you know it was water, though? You got cameras in my house?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, literally, yes.
It could be. It could be
right
vodka.
now. Oh, that's true. Could be. It sounds different.
I don't. Well, I mean, if it was vodka or gin or something like that, I'd be a lot more raspy from chugging it. Anyway, back to the
Anyway,
Warhammer.
right. So that's the Keeler story. Again, we talked about this during stream, I think, but I'm pissed at Keeler for not having any kind of like a crisis of faith when she's absolutely used as a vessel for Nurgle to invade the palace and like kill a bunch of people. Like, what the heck, Keeler? That's all.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely like. I don't know. She, on the one hand, she still very much has her faith, but she's entirely agreed to like not give it up, and if that means imprisonment in the Blackstone Fortress, where they put all of their like most dangerous criminals, so be it, right?
Right.
Like she at least recognizes the danger of promulgating her faith.
But then she does anyway. Like, as soon as she's able to.
That's true.
I don't think that's what that is. I think she's like, it's all according to the Emperor's plan. Wherever I am, it's fine.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeler. Anyway, whatever. She's fine, I guess.
Yeah. You know, shout out to Edek Ayarik, the one inmate she interviews who gives her like, who's willing to have a conversation, who's like, yeah, I killed a bunch of people because the Imperium shit. And he's the one guy who totally understands exactly where 40k is heading. And with the Emperor being worshipped as a god, and like, do this because he's a god, do that because he's a god, die because he's a god. And like, he I don't know if that's Dan Abnett being like, I'm gonna write the most self-aware character, or he's like, hey, shitheads on Reddit, the Imperium's bad, here's a character letting you know in plain words, it's bad, you know?
The Imperium is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's the one guy who gets it, and he's like been going around as a serial killer, killing all of the high and mighty lords, and like leaving them trails. And it's like, don't you know how I did it?
Right. And they're like, no.
No. And like right as they're leaving, the Taramaki and the custodian's like, what did skinning them alive have to do with sending a message? And he's like, oh, that was just for fun.
That's a great moment. There are funny moments in this book.
There are funny moments, yeah.
Yeah. There is so much. Abaddon is continually worried that Horus kind of sucks now, and he's really sad about it.
Yeah, and he's like looking for that military victory. Yeah. Because the warp sucks, and he wants nothing to do with the warp. Which, you know, don't blame him.
No, definitely not. I mean, I just think it's more interesting that Horus is like reading books that nobody brings him and calling people by the wrong names, and sometimes he'll like ask you to bring him something and then like forget. He like has Alzheimer's or something. He's totally described like he's an Alzheimer patient.
Yeah, he has warp-induced Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I mean, you're not wrong. He is just swollen with chaos powers. He's ascending onto godhood. That sticking in the mortal material here and now is difficult.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, that is, I guess you could look at that as like the explanation I'm pulling out of my butt, but I think that is the explanation they give later.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Perturabo is just like a pig in shit right now. He's like having the best time of his entire life.
Speaking of funny moments, Perturabo is like neck deep in the weeds of like orchestrating the siege, and like I think it's little Horus Axamand is like, is Perturabo happy right now? Is that what I'm seeing?
That is really good. Because he is happy.
Yeah.
Like, this is what he was created to do. And like to duel against Dorn, who was created to do the opposite, is like the best challenge he's ever gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, they really lean into like Perturabo's an asshole in this book. They're like, if you come to him, there's a good chance he'll just kill you for no reason. It's like, oh, great, fantastic.
Right.
Good stuff from Perturabo right now.
I like that Abaddon uses that though when he's like trying to gather up support from like the Dark Mechanicum in secret. He's like, oh yeah, well why don't you go check with Perturabo on that? He says to like some Iron Warrior or son of Horus, and he's like, Perturabo's in such a great mood to answer trivial details and questions like that. Go for it. You go ask him to clarify that. He's in a great mood for it. You know.
Yeah, that's really funny. So then, the book basically revolves around the concept that there is a chink in the wall of the palace wall called the Saturnine.
The entire palace has shifted 8 centimeters on the continental crust, and there is a failure in the wall or in the earth beneath the wall, a bit of both.
Yeah. Yep. So it's like the only true vulnerability that the walls have.
Yeah. And so most of the book is about Abaddon attempting to assemble a force to attack as a distraction, while he and a spearhead strike drill through and breach directly into the inner palace. Yeah, that's the Saturnine Gambit, and like he talks to Eidolon. Eidolon's like, look, I'll go and try and swindle some of the Third Legion, and comes back with Fulgrim and the entire Third Legion. Right?
Yes. Because Fulgrim is bored. Because that is Fulgrim.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Fulgrim's just bored, and it makes total sense, and I love every minute of it. Yeah. So they get some.
Yeah. Like, what I like about it though, just before we get into the weeds.
Yeah.
I like that they're fully aware that Dorn could know about this and that it's a trap. Right? They're like, do we think that doesn't seem like Dorn to overlook this thing, but if he has, it's this incredible chance to like break this thing wide open, right?
Yeah.
I just like that.
They're very aware, and they have to keep it quiet, because if they like make a bunch of obvious moves really quickly, they'll give away that they know. And so they can't know that we know, but do they know we know? Do we know that they know that we know that they know? And it's like, they don't know.
And I kind of like that the book wasn't all secretive about it. Like, we wouldn't know if Dorn knew about it until it happened, and ta-da, it was a trap.
Right.
Like, early on, Dorn's like, yeah, there's a problem over here. Cinderman brought it to my attention. He knows.
Like, not even early on. It's the start of the book is Cinnamon going up to throw himself off, like, the top garden. And he just happens to say something to Dawn there. He's like the palace is shivering, or, like, shuddering. I think it's shuddering. And that makes him think that, like, oh, I should check the foundations. And, right, like, it's I don't know, maybe the Emperor guided Kirill Cinnamon to that rooftop that day.
Maybe he did.
Or Dawn actually didn't know, and if he just got lucky that it was brought to his attention, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but either way, I just appreciate that we see the preparations. We know they know. They're like hoping that Horus himself comes down and like leads this attack, because that would be so rad.
That would be,
yeah. It's just, I don't know why I like it so much. I guess I just appreciate the author being straight up about what both sides are doing.
It could have very easily turned into Ocean's 11, where it's like something happens, and then we're going to show you 4 different perspectives of how everyone knew about it and like what they were doing differently. And it's like, well, they weren't really having an argument there to like put some balloons in front of the camera. It was all a plan. But instead, we're like, no, we have a plan. We're going to go get Arcane Land, who's back with his monkey. And
good old Land. Yeah.
Put him to work making some stuff called Lockcrete. And we're just going to hope that whatever they come with, if we make it look like an inviting trap, we can entrap them. But hope that we can hold against whatever they bring. Because there's also a very real moment where they realize the entire Third Legion is coming. And they go, can we hold this? Like, what can we redeploy here? And it gets a little bit undermined when Rogol goes to fight Fulgrim, and he's like, you committed your entire legion into a tiny little point that can be held by a tenth of the numbers, right? Like,
Yeah.
which is like, yeah, okay, but wasn't it like 2 pages ago you were worried if we had enough people to like hold this?
Maybe they didn't have a tenth of the numbers at the time.
Maybe that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I just appreciate too, because a lot of the time, the vast majority of the time in storytelling, if you tell your audience what the plan is, then the plan goes to pot. It falls apart immediately.
right,
And if you don't tell them what the plan is, then it totally works because suspense.
right,
But in this book, they tell us what the plan is, and then like there are some hiccups and some things go wrong, but it works,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, a big part of it, the plan is like the spaceport, the Eternity Wall spaceport, also needs to be make a show of being held, so that they also commit to there, so they don't overrun at these other places. And these are like the smaller stories involving Jagatai and Sanguinius holding different points, right?
Right.
But like even then, we know that like they can't hold everywhere, so the plan has to work. The way that the suspense works is not like will it, won't it, but it has to, and if it doesn't, we understand that they're in a real shit show if it doesn't, right?
Right. Definitely.
Um, yeah, I mean, I
Good.
yeah,
So skipping to the end, I really enjoy that Fulgrim shows up,
yep,
has a kind of funny fight with Dorn, where he's like, "Aren't you gonna try to save me?" And Dorn's like, "No."
no, nope, nope. I
And
really,
then Dorn wins the fight. No, sorry, you had a thing.
yeah, it's that before Dawn gets there, Sigismund attacks Fulgrim, and he's just
Oh
like
yeah.
barely defending himself, and he's like getting his hair cut up and his lips all beaten. He's like, "How dare you!" He's throwing a very Fulgrim fit. I like that, and he like
Yeah.
backhands Sigismund's away eventually, and Dawn's like, "Yeah, Sigismund's courage is sometimes bigger than he thinks it is. You know,
And its capabilities.
abilities. Yeah." Oh, you're frozen. Falcon's frozen. What happened, buddy? Technical difficulties. Oh, hey, Big Allens. Hi. Thanks for stopping by right as Falcon's webcam freezes. Oh, now it's just me. Falcon's typing. What's he typing? Power outage. Yeah, it says the PC has no internet. Rip. But Wi-Fi is fine. All right, we're
No
back.
idea what happened there.
Absolutely no idea. Oh well.
We're back now. Internet is finicky, I guess, sometimes.
Yep.
Yep, that's all.
What
So
were
you were
we
making a point
about?
about Fulgrim and Dorn and Sigismund, and then Dorn
Oh.
goes...
Yeah. Dawn just shows up and is like, Sigismund sometimes his courage outstrips his abilities, but mine doesn't, and then immediately
Right.
manhandles Fulgrim, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
all.
right. And the whole time, if you've read the Horus Heresy, you're like, Fulgrim is a demon prince. You probably can't stab him to death, fairly sure. And he stabs him to death, and then Fulgrim's like, so, heads up, I can't die. Actually, I did like before that, though. Fulgrim's like, you're losing, we're killing all of your men. Why aren't you looking around? Like, why aren't you looking at the devastation my men are causing? And Dorn's like, because we're winning, you idiot. This was a trap the whole time. And Fulgrim's like, it was a trap? Oh, no. It's very funny.
Yeah, it is very funny.
Yeah. So then Fulgrim's like, you can't kill me, sucker. And Dorn's like, oh, shit. Then Fulgrim's like, but I'm tired of fighting. It still hurts when I get hurt, so bye.
It is.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he specifically says, like, I don't want to get hurt anymore. It sucks.
Right.
Friggin' Primarch, you pansy. What happened to you? Like, every other Primarch is willing to, like, lose limbs in a fight. And Fulgrim's like,
it hurts.
Little pain.
It hurts. Yeah. I'd rather go and do literally anything else.
Does he say exactly? Because it is very funny.
Go for it.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Fulgrim spends forever being like, you're losing, look around, you idiot.
Mm-hmm. I really like it when he's like, he first gets on top of the wall and he like butchers the new sergeant, the one that is like a quick upgrade Marine instead of like a proper Legionnaire who's been given like war command, and he's like torn his legs off. He's like, oh, you tried to crawl away. Didn't anyone tell you the rules yet? I don't think you're supposed to do that. Dawn's gonna be very unhappy with you.
Yeah. No steps backwards.
Yeah. Oh god, Shiban Khan is so cool. He made me want to have a White Scars army when he's like, no step backwards.
Yeah.
Every time.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So here's what he says. I cannot die, but I can feel the pain, and I won't take any more of it. So he turns into a snake and then flies away.
His solution as an immortal demon is not to just kill Dawn, it's to leave.
He's like, I sure hope Horus wins, but bye, I'm leaving now.
I mean, he also did, like,
absolutely
get
insane.
his legion butchered, so.
But he doesn't care about them.
Not particularly, but, like...
Oh.
I mean, you gotta remember, this is based on a tabletop game. If most of your army gets butchered, you're out of it.
Yeah, but if you're an immortal demon prince, you're not out of it.
Yeah, but the game
Dorn makes this point. Dorn at the end of the book is like, he could have kicked all of our asses. We would be dead right now, but he decided to run away instead. For some reason I don't understand. We are so lucky.
Because the game only goes to 5 rounds. And this is the 4th book. So he just called it early. He's like, I'm out of guys that can't win on objectives. That's happened.
But he could have. That's the funny part. Oh, man. It's great. Like, everything with Fulgrim is very, very funny in this book. It's the best. So
while that's going on, Abaddon is in some mole machines trying to dig under the wall. Right. Where they get stuck in Lockcrete, which leads to my favorite fun fact, which is there are Chaos Space Marines alive under the walls on Terra in 40k.
The Imperial Palace. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like again, the whole gambit for the Saturnine wall, they go for it and get trapped, and most of them die and don't do any damage at all, and some of them get trapped in the
Well,
walls or
yeah.
underneath them.
There's a great conversation between one of the Chaos Space Marines and the tech priest that they have on with them. I was like, well, uh, can we move? And it's like, no, the quick sealing concrete is in our fairings. It's in our mechanisms. They're all jammed shut. We can't do anything. It's like, okay, well, how long will the power last? A couple weeks. Uh, and what about the air? Well, the air should be fine. So how long will we be here? How long do your kind live?
Because that's how long you'll be here.
Here. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, that's yeah, some amazing dark stuff there. And then little Horus escapes, getting trapped in the Quickcrete, and somehow makes his way up to where land is, pouring the Quickcrete, and stops the Quickcrete. But then because the Quickcrete stopped, everyone's like, "Wait, what?" And they go check it out, and then he dies.
Pretty much. Garviel, good old Loken, put absolutely chops him up with his swords and then puts a bolt gun in his mouth.
Yep, sure does.
So make sure little Horus is dead.
Part of the Mournival, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, most of the Mournable dies here actually too. Like, doesn't Tormageddon
Yeah.
die here as well?
I think so.
Yeah, he does.
Like Abaddon only escapes because of random transporter chance. Yeah.
Yeah, Loken was barely able to handle Tormageddon's superhuman strength, but eventually was able to kill the creature. This time, the infernal power that powered him had either extinguished or fled back into the warp. So, I mean, as a demon, it's immortal, but like, as a material being, it's dead.
Right.
Yeah, so that's most of the gambit. The rest of the story is the holding of the Eternity Gate spaceport, which is that like Dawn's already seeded that like they're not going to reinforce it. They can't. And they send some like generals there to like take over Zone Command, and there's a couple of Space Marines there. But I think the really interesting stories there, one, Piers and the boy Harry, the Remembrancer, right? But Genetia Kroll, I really like everything in her perspective. She's the silent sister who's like brought into the meeting, just as a shroud, so no one can like warp spy on her. But she's like talking about how like they literally can't even see me. I'm so nully, people can't look at me and see me.
Unless they really focus on me. Yeah.
Right. And basically everything from her perspective is great. Right up until it's from Khan's perspective, and he's like, so my helmet has like a kill tally. I don't really care about it, but I'm trying to get the number as high as I can. Hey, wait, why did the number go up by 1? I didn't see anything. He basically walks through her. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, that
doesn't know, can't see here, doesn't know that she's there. We get her perspective leading up to it, where she's like, I'm not affecting him at all. Which is weird, because like he's all chaosy. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, like she's like, Khan is like a real giant even for a Astartes. He's a brute, swollen with blood power, and like his rage is so deep that he just kills everything. It like, if it's affecting him at all, physically he doesn't even notice. Like his mind isn't able to comprehend the difference between a null, a field, and nothing because of the butcher's nails. He's just like, I don't know, a butcher. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but he's like the only one of the World Eaters that's trying to keep it together at all. We specifically get that again. Like every time we see Karn after they fall into chaos, he's like working super hard to not just be a mindless killing machine.
Right.
Right?
But the nails were biting.
Yeah.
Nails were biting hard.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because we do get that earlier version of her. It's always first person writing. It's always I, which nobody else gets in the book. It's just her.
Right. They in the audiobook, it actually switches to a different narrator for her.
Oh, that's cool.
Stuff. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. But she saves the other Ollie guy.
And Harry. Yep.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm not sure if this is gonna work. I've never taken on a Chaos Space Marine before, but let's give it a try. And then it totally works. And so then she's like, well, might as well give it a shot with Karn as well. Like, I know who this is.
Well, I mean, right before she fights Khan, she like literally goes through like a tally that like her armor system is picking up ident tags of all the Chaos Space Marines. She's like, I killed this guy, I killed that guy, I
Yeah.
killed all of these, and he gets the Khan, and she's like, he doesn't even seem to be affected by my null. And then Khan's like, hey, my kill counter went up by 1. What happened?
Right. She gets cut off mid mental like thought. She's talking to
Yeah.
herself, and bam, it's out. She's
Yep.
done. Yeah. It's a pretty jarring moment for sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So she's fun.
Oh.
Just real quick back to Abaddon, just real fast. So he recognizes they've been ambushed. The plan has failed. He's finding like this pure joy in the battle, and like dying in battle is like something he decides he really, really wants. And plus, if he goes back, everyone's going to blame him for this,
Right.
this failure, and he's not looking forward to that.
Right.
And then he gets yanked out of it, and he's like, oh, like I just come to terms with this.
Right. Nathaniel Gower like has him by the scruff of his collar, and he's
Yeah.
like about to push his sword through his head, and then he teleports out. I wonder if a bit of that is Dan Abnett having some fun, where I think in a lot of the Chaos Space Marine books in 40k, because
Yeah.
Abaddon
Abaddon's alive in 40k.
right, and
Right.
he's Chaos's big bad war master at that point. And so all of the books that have him like achieve an objective and then have to get away is he just teleports out. Like that happens. He does that constantly, is what I hear.
Okay, that is really funny. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Abaddon.
Yeah.
Not a good time.
So let's see. What are the other little things that we're missing? Oh, right at the end of the book, we get word that there's a Dark Angels fleet, or at least some Space Marines with Corswain being like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here to stand with Terra."
Right.
That's interesting to note. But I think the only other thing I can think of is Magnus the Red shows up and like teaches Mortarion how to really be a demon Primarch and how to not make it hurt and how to like help him fall in love with being a demon, because
Right.
he's
Because
like
he says, because if Mortarion doesn't like what he is, he's not as effective as he can be.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like whether or not he basically gave him like a Panadol, right, or something to like take away his headache while he settles into like his new body.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but he like clears his eyes and like I think he makes the pain go away. And
To a certain extent.
to
I
a-
don't
to a
think
certain-
Mortarion says it's gone.
right, but it's
Yeah.
he's surprised that Magnus shows some kindness, but
Yeah.
all of this like Magnus and Araman have a conversation that they're just using Mortarion and the Death Guard to get into a certain point, like to break upon the wall, which is important because the next book is a shorter one. It's the second novella that we're not going to skip this time, Fury of
Okay.
Magnus by Graham McNeil, who I think is your favorite.
No, Swallow is.
Swallow, yeah.
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 But McNeil's good.
McNeil's
No
so good.
complaints.
So good.
Yeah.
Fury of Magnus, next book.
Got it.
Yeah.
There's so much other stuff in this book. The Khan riding out into the Death Guard and just being like,
Oh,
we got through them all. Guess we'll turn around and
Yeah,
go
go
back
back.
the other way.
right. It should not be understated that Dan Abnett does not phone in any part of this book where he's like,
No.
all right, the White Scars are going to do a charge. How do I make that interesting? Okay, we
Yeah.
go through the rules for a charge, which is don't whip your horse until you're like within arm's reach of the enemy. Save that burst of speed for the line. Once you get through them, come back. And then
Yeah.
he has all these rules about like what makes a cavalry charge really impressive for the White Scars. And then later on, there's an actual cavalry charge with real freaking horses. Ugh.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Abnett talks about that. He talks about there is so much fighting in this book, and I couldn't write all of the fight scenes the same because you'd be bored to death.
Yeah. He gets
So
it.
he says he tried to mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
He says, how do you avoid being repetitive? You switch it up. You make each strand different. The Colossi fight, cavalry and magic, Gorgon, classic siege warfare on the walls, Eternity Wall Port, hopelessly overrun, Saturnine, ruthless covert ops. So I mixed up the writing too. Some fights are straight and cinematic accounts, like Sanguinius against the Titans. Other are tight points of view, like Loken's fights. Others are wide angle and impressionistic, like the first approach at Colossi, the start of the part 2. Others are intense, relentless, like Cambiadea's on the bridge. So yeah, so he really recognized how many fight scenes he had to write in this book and how to make it varied, and that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason
And
why
then,
they get Dan Abnett to finish the series off, and like I think that's it. Like he's so good at recognizing how to pace the book and how to make the same things feel different. Like because eventually it's all fighting, but it's all fighting very differently, and like he's very good at that.
It's fantastic. And then Sanguinius is Sanguinius being kind of put in Angron's mind.
Right.
As Angron, who is somehow rational and calm, issues a challenge to the Imperial defenders to give up.
Because he thinks he's on New Syria. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they obliterate him with like 1,000,000 rockets.
Right, and all the wall guns, but like Korn's keeping him alive. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he reconstitutes.
Yeah.
And Sanguinius is in his mind the whole time. And makes note that when Angron dies, there's like this peace. This like blessed release from everything that Angron is dealing with all the time.
Angron is finally happy when he dies now, and he'll never be allowed to like rest.
Yeah.
It's grim, it's dark, it's Warhammer.
So bad. Well, so then Sanguinius is like, I've been plagued by all these visions. I don't know what they are. And then he gets teleported into Angron's mind, dies with him, and then is like, I'm good now. I know what I learned. And I'm like, what did you learn? You can't kill Angron? Like, we figured that out. Everybody else knows that too. I don't know what the point of all that was.
So a lot of the visions that he has, he's him like realizing the connection to like blood. Like he's sopped in like Perturabo's blood, and he like tries drinking a little bit of it, and he sees the vision. He's trying to see the vision where Perturabo is like planning the Saturnine Gambit. Is like a bolt shell placed on a paper map. And so it's him attempting to tap into those visions. But he accidentally, like, I don't know, drinks some World Eater blood, maybe? Or just, like, all of the blood goes to the nearest conduit for blood, which is Angron.
Yeah.
Right? And finds out that, Angron thinks he's on New Syria, thinks he's fighting the High Riders. And when he dies, it's him going, okay, I can't fuck around with this. That's Sanguinius going, nope, I learned what I needed to, which is, don't try. Blood warp, magic, and visions, it's just no good at the moment. Like, he was...
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's nice.
That's my guess.
Fair enough. Because, yeah, it is. It's stuff that he doesn't understand, and he's grasping, trying to understand it, and, like, pull himself further into the vision to get some meaning, and it never does anything. And, like, it's visibly debilitating for him, too. So he's, like, falling on his knees, like, crying out. And, like, this is bad for morale. He's trying to not do that in public anymore.
Right. He loved it. That's a bad idea.
Anyway, great book. Really good.
So good.
So much stuff. We probably skipped some stuff.
Oh, we did. We definitely skipped one of the other historians going to like the walls to be like, I can't see the battle. I need to get to the like one of the closer walls. And he's like, no, you need to leave. I don't care that you've got a warrant of writ or whatever. It's like, you need to go. And then like Zephon, handsomest disabled Astartes ever, turns up and like tries to get her to leave, and then like dies for her, you know.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
makes Arcane land sad when he finds out that he's dead, and she loses her sight. She's blind,
Yep. At least, possibly temporarily.
possibly.
See, she might get it back. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So there's that whole thing. Oh, and then I guess they set up in the future, but Grammaticus is going to run into his Ollie.
Yes.
Because they did some tarot card readings, and he's 2 weeks in the future.
Yep. It's 2 weeks in the future somewhere. Oh, and
Which time
Litu.
travel? Boo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right, boo. Litu
Yeah.
is coming with him. And Litu
Yeah,
is
the like legionless space marine.
Right. He is a space marine, but not of any of the Legion stock. He is one of the prototypes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like
Did you
supremely
think
loyal
Emperor-
to Oda. Yeah.
That's right. Do you think the Emperor gave him to Erda? Was like, you
Like a
can't be the mother
gift?
to any of these Primarchs. They're mine. But you can have this guy. Right?
I don't know. She says she worked with Amara Astadi, like the supreme geneticist behind the Astartes project.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if when she just got out of the palace, she just like took one with her, right? Like I don't think the Emperor was like, "Here, have an adoptive grandson. That'll fill the void in your heart."
Well, yeah. I mean, I know you're pissed off because I'm completely cutting the Primarchs out of your life, and you consider them your children. But here, have this. I don't know.
I mean, maybe yeah, that could totally be the Emperor's perspective because he never comes after her, and it's not like an Astartes going missing at that time would not raise any flags, you know.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but
It's interesting. I like the idea of Astartes who's just loyal to one person and like doesn't really care about anything else.
Loyal to one person that isn't even the Emperor. I think that's really interesting.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Distinction is important there, but it's another perpetual, right? She's not a perpetual.
Oh no, she is. Litu. I thought you were talking about
Yeah.
Litu. Yeah, no, she
Oh
is.
no. Yeah, he's loyal to a perpetual, so it's kind of
Yeah.
the same thing.
Kind of. Yeah.
Man, there's so much. Okay, last thing I promise. There's the thing that Erda talks about the Emperor in the olden days, where it's like we knew he was dangerous, like we knew what he wanted to do was probably destructive and bad, but he was so charismatic and so clever and so likable that
And
like
funny.
it took us forever to get around to try to do anything about it. Yeah,
Right.
and funny.
It is.
Yeah.
It is very interesting to see a character with a perspective who knows the Emperor as a person, and is like, he did what a lot of the Perpetuals did, which was to try to guide humanity. And some of us did this, some of us didn't. Like Piers, like Oleanus Pius just wanted to go be a farmer, and so he did that repeatedly. But like the Emperor was one of the people who wanted to guide humanity, and he was so much more powerful than all of us, even then, that he was vastly more successful than we were.
Yeah, and Grammaticus is like, why didn't you guys stop him back then? And she's like, all of us put together could not approach what he was capable of. And it's like, oh, okay, fair enough. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, next book.
Next book, Fury of Magnus, by Graham McNeil.
Good old Graham.
This one's shorter for you, so that'll be nice.
Excellent. It's only 450 pages.
248. It's much shorter.
I keep hoping one of these times Amazon will present my Amazon rewards points to let me buy this book without having to refresh the page.
No.
I don't think they're ever going to do it, man.
They're not. Don't worry about it. They're not.
It's like the most underhanded garbage.
What's that? Amazon doing something shifty? No, never. Surely not.
I mean, whatever. I don't know. I don't know why it bothers me so much.
I don't know why either.
Yeah, fair. Okay, this is a world record podcast for us on length.
It's up there. It's definitely up there. Yeah.
On the list. Yeah, it's late. All right, cool. Let's wrap this thing up. So that is going to be it from us. This has been Summicron and Falcon Paladin with another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, talking about all sorts of crazy stuff. What are you looking at?
Me? Nothing.
Yeah, you had that face on that's like I said something weird.
Nope.
Okay. You can support the podcast by watching it at twitch.tv/Somicron on Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on where you are. You can see the VODs, you can figure it out, or by going to patreon.com/Somicron and pledging there, or by buying merch at falconpaladin.store, and they do show up on YouTube as well at youtube.com/@Somicron. So lots of places to find the podcast. And we'll be back next week with more Arcane and more Warhammer and more who knows what else. But until then, you stay safe and stay healthy, and above all, you take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye-bye.